Hey everybody, what is going on? Good evening. Hope you guys are doing well, and we are going to continue our look at the 2027 NFL Draft, doing a little preview of some of the positions and players of interest in this upcoming draft. We already did quarterback, we already did running back, so now we're moving on to the next position, or at the very least, position group that is intriguing. And let's go ahead and run it down here. This video is sponsored by Prize Picks. Not going to talk about wide receiver because it's hard for me to foresee a scenario where the Seattle Seahawks actually need to spend a serious pick on a wide receiver in the next draft. JSN is locked up for a long time. Cooper Kupp may be gone this next offseason, but Shaheed is now locked up for multiple years. Horton's locked up for multiple years on that rookie deal. Jake Bobo, his contract is almost entirely guaranteed for this year and next year. So hard for me to see a situation where this team might actually invest a serious pick in a receiver. And tight end, kind of the same thing. AJ Barner has a contract that runs another 2 years. Elijah Arroyo has a contract that runs another 3 years. So if the team takes a tight end, it's hard for me to believe it's going to be an overly high investment. And maybe that's something that we'll open up the conversation on later this year. If Arroyo isn't working out, then maybe there's some room for the at least discussion. But for now, I'm going to skip tight end. And of course, I'm skipping fullback because we already have one, and it's really hard to find real fullbacks anyway. So not really going to get into that. So that brings us to the offensive line. Now, what parts of the offensive line are the Seahawks likely to need a significant investment into? They've already spent a bunch of money on a left tackle and a right tackle. Maybe they need a backup, but that's not something I'm going to be getting into right now. Left guard, they've spent that first-round pick on Gray Zabel. He's under contract for another 3 years, so we're good there. Maybe we'll need a backup at left guard, but that's a discussion for a different kind of video. Not going to get into that now. So we're talking about center and we're talking about right guard. Those are the two positions I want to look at here. Center is tricky because Jalen Sundell has been pretty decent and he's very cheap and will continue to be cheap for another year or two. But if he doesn't have a very good year, maybe he becomes your backup and you go hunting for a new starter. And Oluwatimi is going to be a free agent next offseason, so he's probably gone. So in that scenario, you would need to draft a new center. And even if Anthony Bradford has a good year this year, who knows if you're able to bring him back? He is a free agent next year. Christian Haynes has shown nothing. So it's Bo Stevens. And maybe Bo Stevens can be the next starter at right guard, but maybe not. And what you see from him this season is going to inform that. So with all that in mind, I want to take a look at players at both positions. And this is where things get tricky because any player that plays on the offensive line in college could end up playing anywhere else, pretty much. There are exceptions, but there are definitely going to be tackles out there in college football who end up playing guard or center. There are going to be left guards that end up bumping over to center or right guard. So theoretically, anybody could fit in. I'm going to be focusing for the purposes of this video on the guys who are actually playing center and right guard in college because they're the guys that we know can do it on some level. We'll open up the conversation about maybe converting players later in the process. If you like sports, then the best way to make them even better and more exciting is using the Prize Picks app, where it always feels good to be right. Prize Picks makes daily fantasy simple. Just pick more or less on your favorite players and build lineups with a few taps. Whatever sport you're into, and obviously we are now firmly into the NFL offseason, so we're all about baseball, we got some basketball, we got some hockey, whatever it is you like, Prize Picks gives you a fun way to stay locked in while you're watching. Definitely make sure to use the promo code HMA. Prize Picks is hooking up users with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. If you use that promo code, that is HMA. I've had a great time on Prize Picks so far, so definitely get on over to it, check it out, and make sure to get your lineups. And don't forget about team picks, where you can pick winners, spreads, and totals on any major game. So download the app now, use HMA, and get on over to Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And remember, always gamble responsibly. Okay, so with that in mind, let's start with the centers here, and there are not going to be very many because, like most years, there's only going to be a handful of draftable centers and a handful of draftable right guards because they are considered to be the most, well, I guess I don't know what the right word is, least valuable players on the offensive line. A little bit more easier to find with just replacement level investments. But the top center right now, this is the one guy in the center group that is currently projected to be about a second round pick. Iapani Lolalulu, I think is how you pronounce it. Iapani Laolulu, the latest and greatest center prospect from Oregon. Like I said, somewhere around the second round, he is all about the pass protection. He is an extremely skilled pass protector, knows how to use his hands, knows how to use his feet, really good at staying in front of his guy and keeping his quarterback clean. That is his calling card. He's also massive. Most centers, 300, 310 pounds. This guy's 330 pounds. So he can take on power. He can swallow up bull rushes. No issues with handling a big dude just trying to bulldoze his way into the pocket. The issue with him is that he's not a great mover, and it's unlikely that he will ever be a great mover. And he's not yet a finished product as a run blocker yet. So we need to see something from him in 2026. But you take a look at it, he's got a lot of experience playing college football, and the bedrock of his game is so good that it's pretty easy to believe that he's going to end up being a day 2 pick. He could even maybe edge up into day 1, depending on the circumstances. All right, we have one other guy who's likely, or at the very least has a reasonable chance of being a top 100 pick. Although this one's tricky, it's Jason Zandamela, formerly of USC this year. He's with Florida, and he's barely played any college football in his career. So the thing to understand with Zandamela, he is extremely talented. I think he came from a rugby background actually in Australia, but Zandamela needs to play very well this year in order to even consider being drafted, because this guy's been floating around for a while now, but he hasn't really gotten on the field very much yet, as you can see. So he's going to have to play the whole season and play great to even think about coming out for 2027. But he is probably, other than Laolulu, the most talented center that could be in this draft. He's got a dream zone blocking skill set. He can move really well. He looks like Jason Kelsey out there. He can do stuff that very few other people at his size can. He's also kind of new to football. Like I said, he comes from rugby, so he should make big improvements quickly. It should be very easy for an offensive line coach to look at a guy like Zandamela and say, hey, that is a guy who isn't great at football yet, but he'll learn fast because he's so talented. He just doesn't really have the power you're looking at to take on big bodies, but he's a center. Having a lot of power usually isn't that important for a center. You'd rather have the more mobile, agile guy. So those are really your top two. Those are the two guys that I think are really intriguing, and Zandamela, very good chance he doesn't even come out, so it's dicey. After that, you get down to the day 3 guys, like Carson Hintzman. Carson Hintzman of Ohio State, so he's certainly been part of a good program these last couple of years. Good mover. He can play in space fairly well. He's fairly skilled at the zone stuff. He's got the potential to pack on some more muscle, and he's smart. He can pick up blitzes, pick up stunts, pick up twists. Good at getting his guys into position, so it's a good all-around game here. I think that's probably the way I would describe Hintzman. He has a very strong all-around game. There's just a lack of technique right now with his hand usage, with his fundamentals in terms of like shuffling his feet, and there's just some missing consistency there. And he's also not a very good snapper. He's a guy who will snap the ball erratically, needs to iron that out a little bit if he wants to become a starter. So day 3 guy right now, this is a guy who really could move up. This is a guy who could move up. If he packs on some muscle this year and shows some more power, I think he could be a day 2 pick, but he's got to iron out some of the issues in his game. Next guy is going to be Braylon Moore of LSU, another center here. And he is an intriguing combination of being very stout in the middle, hard to move, anchors down well, and he's got decent agility. He does have the ability to play in space and move and climb up to that second level, and I do think he'll be pretty good in zone. It it's just a matter of moving guys out of the way right now for him. He's not a very good mover. He's not somebody that can drive, block, and clear out run lanes. So he's mostly about his ability to anchor against power and then play in space. But he doesn't move people the way you would like. Again, he's a center. You can work with it, but there's a reason why he currently projects to be a 5th-round pick. Maybe he moves up a little bit. I don't know if he can become a top 100 pick, though. That's a little bit dicey. Final 2 centers here. These are both guys who are currently projected to be 7th rounders, so pretty thin now. Kyle Altuner of Vautech. Virginia Tech has an elite running game, and Altuner is a crucial, focal, pivotal piece of that rushing attack. So he has that going for him. Clearly, he's doing something right because Virginia really was able to run the ball great last year, but he doesn't protect that well. He doesn't have great pass pro, a lot of penalties. He's not very big, and he's not a very good athlete. So it's one of those things where, in order to be intrigued by him, you have to really, really get into the couple of things that he does really well and ignore a lot of problems with him. So 7th-round pick right now. If he has a better year this year, maybe he can show some improved run blocking. Maybe he becomes a mid-day 3 guy. Low ceiling, though. Final guy is going to be Sheridan Wilson of Texas Tech here. Really good pass pro guy. His pass pro numbers are incredible. Last year, he played the whole season, allowed 4 pressures. So there's some really compelling numbers in that regard. And he's played a lot of college football. So we have a pretty good idea of what he is, but no run blocking, ton of penalties, and doesn't move very well. And it's Texas Tech, let's be real. Not so hard to run or pass block in Texas Tech because of the system they use. So 7th-round pick right now, kind of a low ceiling, probably a day 3 guy on a good day. So those are your centers. Really, the big gun right now is Laululu, and then there's a big drop off. Hintzman has a chance to move up. Zandamela could be really intriguing, but I'm not sure if he comes out. So not a good center class right now. Probably beyond the guys I mentioned, you're looking for guys to convert from tackle or guard. Okay, now let's go to right guard here. And this is going to be really quick because there are only a few actual current right guards that seem to be draftable right now. The big gun is Gade Piper of Iowa, another Iowa offensive lineman. This is easily your top right guard in this class right now. Currently projects to be about a 2nd-round pick. He is the latest Iowa offensive line product. He run blocks like a monster. He's a mauler in the middle, and he keeps his quarterback clean really well. Allowed 10 hurries total last year for the Buckeyes. I'm sorry, not the Buckeyes, Hawkeyes. What am I saying? And only 1 penalty as well. And he's very agile for a right guard. Now, there's a trade-off there because he doesn't weigh very much. He needs to pack on some weight. 298 pounds is not going to cut it as a right guard in most NFL schemes. And even the movement-based schemes, 298 is definitely pushing it. So he's got to add some weight, or I think he's going to get overwhelmed in the NFL. This next one's really interesting. You've got Charles Jagusha. No idea if that's correct, but this guy's been a notable name for a little while now, but he's barely played football. Played 182 snaps in 2023 and 2024 combined, and then 2025 was going to be his big breakout year, and then he got hurt and did not play a single snap the whole season. So 2025 was meant to be the year he launches off and becomes a top right guard prospect. Didn't happen, but if he has a really good 2026, I believe he can enter the draft and maybe even be a top 100 pick. Even though he's barely played football, the aggregate has him as a 4th-round pick, so this guy can move up fast. He's massive, 333 pounds, 6'5", and he's a very good mover. He's a very athletic player. He's got great length for a guard, but the injuries have just been an absolute killer. The injuries have just been absolutely brutal, and he hasn't established any tape yet to confirm that he can play as well as he can look on paper. And he's already had career-altering injuries. I think he might have if I recall correctly, this might have been the guy that had a season-ending injury on an ATV. So it wasn't even on-field stuff. So there's some stuff going on here with Charles, but there's a lot of talent. And the final guy I want to look at here, this is currently projected to be a 6th-round pick, is Alexander Deuced, another monster of a man, Arizona. Giant dude. Clean pass protection numbers. Good combination of power and athletic ability. This is another guy who I could absolutely see moving up. Does allow a little bit more in pass pro than you would like for a guy playing right guard as of right now, but I think he can clean that up. He's just raw and inconsistent. If he can iron out those finer points of his game, I think you've really got something. So, little bit tricky here, little bit difficult to project out, but there's definitely talent here. He's got the size. He's a good athlete for his size. It's just a matter of putting better tape on the field on Saturdays this season. Okay, so those are the centers and right guards I'm looking at right now. We're definitely going to add guys as the season goes on. There are going to be some tackles and left guards that need to slide inside in the NFL. But those are my dudes as of right now. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys think I'm missing anything. But right now, those are the guys that have draftable grades on the aggregate who at least play the position right now. So it's not great. That's why it would be really nice if Jalen Sundell and Bo Stevens show they can be part of the long-term future this season in some capacity. All right. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Everyone have a great rest of your day. More videos coming tomorrow. Might stream tonight, might not sure. But everyone see you later. Go Hawks.